Hello, hi. Good morning to all of you. If you could please confirm if the audio video is all right today. Can you confirm if you can hear me, if the audio is okay, so that we can start with the session today? All right then. So I'm okay. Good to know. Thank you very much for confirming. So let's start. This is session number 13 today of AMA. Uh, we have been talking mostly about finance careers, and we've been dabbling a little bit on different topics in finance. The process that I'll be following, we will start with questions which were raised on the YouTube comments of the previous AMA. Should take me about 15-20 minutes. And after those questions are over, hello Manlo, hi Radharani, Hamza. After these questions are over, I'll be taking some questions from live YouTube. That's the plan. So with this, we can start. Question number 1. Kunal Srivastav says, please upload more crash course of other subjects for level 2 November 24. Kunal, I think all the content that we had planned for this season, we've already uploaded. For this November 24, level 2 will not be uploading more crash course videos. Viraj is asking, don't you think MBA in India is a scam? Especially for people without WorkX, how much do you think it adds value to your knowledge? This is a little difficult question to answer. See, MBA in India is a very generic term, right? If you end up getting into one of those premier schools like IIMs and ISB, maybe it's still worth it because of the alumni effect and the networking opportunities that you get. If you're doing a tier 2 MBA, I like think of all the colleges, right, which are not top tier, then probably it's not worth the money. So where you do MBA and what is the career objective, that needs to be mapped properly. Like in India, I think the thing is typically commerce people, right? They'll do some BBA or BCom type of graduation, and then by default everyone thinks MBA is kind of a necessity, but that's not true. So even within finance, if you're looking for research type of roles, आपको MBA की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. So you need MBA. There's a very specific use case of when and how to do MBA, right? So once you figure that out, it becomes easier to take a decision. Sue Yu, I've completed my graduation in finance, have a good experience in building 3 statement models, DCF, comps, for both Indian as well as US based companies. I don't want to do CFA because it costs a lot. Now, do you think being good in modeling and financial statement analysis can get a good job in finance role? Or should I add CV in the models which I built as projects? So I think you can definitely, you're definitely eligible to get jobs since you have decent financial modeling skills. The problem for you will be, and I'm going to be a little blunt, the problem for you is going to be getting the calls. Because the issue is that, let's say since you're good at modeling and I'm assuming you understand finance in general, the thing is you should, if you get an interview call, maybe you would be able to do well, right? But if you do not get interview calls, that would be a challenge. Generally, a good anchor on your CV like a CFA or a CA or MBA helps in the earlier part of the career. Right. So from that perspective, I think you might want to reconsider doing CFA. And so don't think of it as a cost, think of it as an investment. Right. So I'll give you a different perspective to think. I'll probably use my screen so that I can show you better. Right. So you might be able to see my screen now. So in finance, there is a concept that we use typically in wealth management setup. We call that as the human capital. Okay. Now, what is human capital? So imagine imagine you're 20-year-old, maybe you'd work till 60, right? So you're age 20 to age 60. Now, in this window, let's assume that you will earn 40 pays, right? I'm just converting that to annual. So maybe today your starting point is, I'm just making up a random number, let's say 6 lakhs per annum. Now, next year, automatically your salary should increase at the rate of inflation. So maybe, maybe something like a 6.5-ish, right? And then so on. So we forecast what salaries an individual will earn. And then we take present value of those salaries, which we call as the human capital. Now, the idea is that if you have some certification on your CV, right, that adds a lot of credibility. For example, it opens a lot of doors for you. This value of human capital might increase by 30 to 40% upfront. So maybe instead of 6, now you're looking at, I'm just making up again a random number, 10. And then the 10 becomes 11 next year. So the ending number is very drastically different than what ending number you would have in the previous scenario. So when I take present value of this is my old human capital and this is my new human capital, right, with some certification. The distance between the two is your benefit of doing some courses. Now this benefit you have to compare with the cost. Now a CFA program, let's say, all inclusive, right? Your coaching and assuming you take some extra attempts should not be more than 5 lakh Indian rupees. Now that you compare with benefits, it's going to be multifold, right? It's going to be substantially more than that. So I would strongly encourage you to consider investing into your education. It does not have to be CFA. You can choose what you want to do. But you should consider investing into some proper education in finance if that's the career you want, because that will help you dramatically and the benefit will definitely outweigh the cost. Right? So that's the way I would think about this. Okay, all right, I'm getting back to the YouTube screen now. Nisha is asking, Utkarsh, could you recommend some equity investing and portfolio rebalancing books that help you take decision with conviction in your investment journey? Sure. I'll tell you the books that that I personally have felt very useful, and some books that I've felt a little more inspired from. I think the book that has had the most influence on my investment thinking is a very simple book that I read early on when I got into this whole investing landscape. Was the Peter Lynch book, right? One Upon the Wall Street. It's such an easy read. You can finish the book in 2 days if you spend enough time. But that's the type of a book that you want to read again and again and again. So I really, really love the Peter Lynch One Upon the Wall Street. Then again on equity front, I've read like thousands of books, but the one that I again liked was this one by Michael Schern called The Checklist. That's also a really, really good book. He has this concept called the moment of truth in that book. That's very exciting. Then there was another book called Little Book That Builds Wealth. This book is around moats. That's also useful for equity investments. Then your usual, Ben Graham's, Howard Marks, Warren Buffett, and there's another interesting book called 100 Baggers. So you can pick up any of these books, start with Peter Lynch, read, see how you feel, and then come back again. I'll recommend you some more. All right, next one. Prabhanjan B. I love the way you explain things in finance, especially de-dollarization. Thank you for explaining. Thank you, Prabhanjan, for your kind words. Try to do my best. Taresh Verma, thank you for doing this, Utkarsh. These sessions are valuable. Session feels like Ask the Expert Lifeline from KBC. I have one last question regarding L3. I self-prepared for L1 and L2 and cleared them in one go. Is it possible with L3 as well? Or is it better to take help of lectures at least for level 3? Taresh, I think self-preparation is always good, right? So the idea is the skill to teach yourself something, right? You read some material and then you have to teach yourself, right? That's the whole process. If you're not using any one else, that's a very valuable skill to have because we have to do that all our life, right? And therefore, I feel if you've prepared L1 and L2 all by yourself, that by itself already is a great achievement. There's no reason for you to change the model. Now, level 3, what changes? The curriculum style is okay. I don't think it's very different. It's going to be the same. What will change? Uh, I'm not sure if I'm on full screen. Am I? Okay, yeah. What will change is you'll have to learn to prepare for constructed responses. Okay, and then there is a method to that madness in terms of how to write. That's where I think having help of someone who's skilled at this work will come in handy. So if you can find a teacher who can help you only with that part, that would be perfect. If it's not available, maybe you can sign up for some prep provider. Follow the same process of teaching yourself, not using the prep material. But when it comes to the constructed responses part, maybe that time you can leverage on the skills of some of the prep provider who've been doing it for years. All right, Raj More. Okay, Raj More, I'll skip. I don't know how to respond. Darshan Jain. Thank you for your videos and content on YouTube. Cleared level 2 using your free content. And Schwezer, starting to apply for jobs now. Thank you once again. Thank you, Darsh, for the feedback. Congratulations on passing level 2 exams. Then we have Jatin Babani 4450. Jatin ji keh raha hai, salary expectation after level 2 and financial modeling skills without any proper experience. Very difficult to say, Jatin, but let's be conservative. I think assume on the lower end about 25-30K a month. So that's about 3 to 3.5 lakhs per annum. On the higher end, I think the CFA data suggests average number of about, आज morning में we were reading this in the class, average number is about 10 lakhs or something like that. I mean, I have not seen too many freshers getting that kind of money in good profiles. So, a reasonable expectation depending on the city. If you're not in Bombay, Delhi type of city, I think about 4 lakhs. If you're in a Bombay type of city or Delhi or Bangalore, maybe about 5 to 6. That's a decent number to work with. Jose Jacob, I'm currently in India doing L2. Like you said, MS in finance has a lot of overlapping content with CFA, but will it be helpful if I want to study and build a career in USA? Is an MBA too early if I'm having experience of less than 5 years? Yes, I agree. I think a typical B school, a good quality B school in the US, आपको चाहिए कम से कम, you're looking at minimum experience of 4 years. If you have less than that, you're not eligible. Is masters a good idea? Yes. But then make sure you're selecting the right school and the right program, right? So I wouldn't do a master's in finance again after doing CFA because, hey, I'll be spending a lot of money on that education and I'll probably be learning which I've anyways learned in the CFA curriculum. So then I will look for masters in, let's say, quantitative finance, masters in data analysis, right? Masters in, if you can find a little more mathematical orientation to the course, I think that will help you more. So select your school properly and try and have some email exchange with the professors before you sign up for the school, so you get some idea of what kind of a curriculum it's going to be. Rishikesh, can you suggest some books like 0 to 1 which helps you understand business, VC markets, some books for economics as a beginner? Sure. So I haven't read a lot of 0 to 1 like a books. I mean, I enjoyed 0 to 1. Good business books, let me think. Economics, I can tell you the one I'm reading now. It's a book called A Brief History of Financial Market Euphoria or something like this. Google it. It's a very small book, about 150 pages. But it's a good book if you want to read a little bit about history of what has gone wrong in the financial markets. For economics, a very fun book to read is Freakonomics. So you can definitely explore. There's another book called The Battle of Bretton Woods. I think a fantastic book. if you want to understand the current economic regime in the world. Um, then there was another book which was written by the chief statistics officer, the chief statistics person in Greece. I forgot the name, but if you Google a little bit, it was about, the book was basically about, how the book starts with something like how statistics has now become a combat sport, like kabaddi or whatever combat sport so you can Google this book. This is also very interesting. It is good story on what happened with Greece economy in that PIGS crisis. ठीक है, आगे stay invested buddy कह रहे हैं. Utkarsh sir, I did not clear level 1 exam this time. Now I need a job to start earning income for monthly expenses. Moreover, getting CFA is also a priority. What's your advice? Take my question. Thanks and regards. Sure. So stay invested buddy is, I'm sorry you did not pass. And again, all those people who've taken exams and couldn't pass because we had results last week. I was telling this to also someone in the classroom today. It is perfectly okay to fail, right? There is nothing wrong in failing. Failing is not a bad word that we should be scared of. I think the idea should be, we all first tend to obsess too much about results. What we need to focus on, each one of us, is more of process. So in general, failing is fine. Identify what mistakes you did and then build a solid process so that next time it doesn't happen. I love the idea of you wanting to earn income for your monthly expenses, right? And which means next 1 year for you, stay invested buddy, is going to be very interesting learning curve, because you'll have to manage your studies, your work, your personal life, your family, people around you, which means you'll have to really work on your time management skills. So love the idea, take up a job, see if you can learn some core skills in your job. If you can learn finance, great. But if you're not finding finance jobs, even sales will help. In fact, if you can do some very difficult sales like door-to-door marketing or CASA sales in bank for some time, that will also be okay, because sales is a life skill. It's going to come in handy all your life. Stay invested says, today your voice and video is not clear, please fix it. Yes, previous video, I think only for first five odd minutes we had some audio issues, but yes, I'll be careful. Again, stay invested. Sir, Dhanish Sharma here. Thanks, you answered my question. Now level 1 results are out. I did not clear. Okay, ye ho gaya hai. Should I continue with earlier plan of shifting to Pune, joining level 1 coaching at FinTree and doing a job? Yeah, you're welcome to come. If you feel that, physical class will help you more. See, we have live Zoom classes as well, right? So you can participate exactly in the same class online. But if you feel that you would want to be a part of a classroom, sit with other students and, just have that whole peer-to-peer learning experience, you're more than welcome to come here. Get in touch with FinTree team for your accommodation and talk to the placement team, see if you can generate some opportunities. Yash Wadkar. Hello Utkarsh, I've heard that big investors don't use Excel and DCF. Then why recruiters look for skills like modeling rather than ability to read financials and stock picking skills? So I don't know. It really depends on your investing style, right? Yes. So it's a little bit like this. It's like saying that some rich or big investors, they generally do not drive car in a particular territory. So should I also avoid learning my driving skills for that type of territory? So it's a skill to have. Okay, if you read, I'll tell you something that will change your thought process about DCF, because I'm a big fan of DCF. There's a book called Poor Charlie's Almanac. Okay, Charlie Munger's book. That book is basically a collection of variety of talks and speeches and articles which have been written over a period of time. There is one, it's called, I think, Lollapalooza or something like that. There's one on Coca-Cola, where Charlie Munger actually does a mental modeling exercise of what will happen to Coca-Cola as a company 100 years from now, right? And if you read that carefully, you'd realize a lot of that is actually DCF thinking. I mean, he might not be using DCF, but he is thinking on how the cash flows will generally materialize in the future. So I think it's a power skill to have DCF. What a lot of people do is they get lost in the Excel part. They feel that financial modeling is about Excel. Financial modeling is not Excel. Excel is just a tool. Financial modeling is actually your ability to simulate what can happen, simulate what can go wrong, right? Build scenarios, build sensitivities, and then see if this happens, then what might happen. And that, as an investor, is an additional tool for you to have to work with. So it's an absolute must skill to learn. There's a book recommendation I have. It's called Expectation Investing by Mebosin. And this book will basically teach you something called as a reverse DCF. Okay, and that's a very, very cool trick to know if you know how to run regular DCF. All right, Yash. Yash says, I'm 21-year-old, currently pursuing level 1 along with equities. I track forex market as well. Just like in equities, it is run by fundamentals, but global level. Any advice on how can I make career out of this? I think there's a lot of forex trading that happens. So you can obviously explore if trading is what you want to do. You can definitely explore working in treasuries of companies which have heavy import-export transactions, because then there would be a lot of hedging. You can work in treasuries of some of these investment banks or the hedging team of these investment banks who basically book hedges for the outstanding trades. All of these will involve some level of work with currencies. Anshul Sahu, what is a specialized industry? What is your industry in terms of researching? I'm getting deeper into power sector, a lot of government restriction, a lot of room for demand, but the power plant ain't fully utilized. Why government not relaxing their policies? I don't track power sector, so I don't know why. I don't understand what to answer you. But what industries do I specialize in? I think nothing. I'm kind of a dabbler, so I know a little bit of everything. Warren Buffett has this concept called circle of competence, where you take one sector and be a champion and then expand your circle of competence. I've taken a slightly different approach where I've said, okay, if I want to study banking, let me study banking. I might not be a champion, but I'll try to use a general business logic to assess the situation. And then over a period of time, when you study enough banking stocks, you start understanding banking a little bit. Though I must confess, my banking understanding is not that strong, right? But let's say you take retail and then you study first 5, 10, 20, 30 companies, then you start understanding retail. You start understanding what drivers are there. So it's a matter of time. I've more or less studied a lot of different industries except utilities. But again, I wouldn't say I specialize in one particular sector, but I know what sectors I'm not good at. I'm definitely not good at valuation of insurance companies. That's something I need to learn. Not good at banking and financial services as a whole. I understand, but not to the depth. And definitely all the utility related businesses. Epic Economics, dear sir, finance professionals should learn Power BI, SQL, Python or not? Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in learning. You can definitely learn some of the skills. If you have to choose one, start with Python. Power BI and is relatively easier skill to pick up. Hitesh is asking, someone wants to appear in CFA Level 2 in May 26. What would be the best roadmap, as most providers are giving classes for 2025? Yeah, Hitesh, you don't need to start so early. If you're preparing for May 26, maybe a good time to start would be around May 25. Starting too early, you might also wear out quickly, right? Instead, use the time from now till May to maybe read some books and read about companies and just learn about the markets a little bit better. Utkarsh Jain. Is it advisable to take CFA exam in quick succession, as one will be in the flow of studying and knowledge gained from previous levels and is fresh in the mind? How would you suggest? See, again, the end objective should always be learning the material, not passing the exams. right? So if you feel that you have reasonable time to cover the curriculum to its depth, definitely you can write them sequentially. But make sure you're getting some work experience along the way, right? Do not study full time. That I think is a really bad idea. Get some experience because it will amplify your learning skills. Richa Haldankar, Utkarsh, big thank you. I cleared level 1 with the help of your free content and Schwezzers. Congratulations. I want to join FinTree for L2. What would be a timeline to prep with a full job? Will I be able to complete the syllabus for August 25? Yeah, in fact, we just started August 25 batch today, just a few hours ago. So August 25 is definitely doable. My expectation would be about 25 to 30 hours of studies along with classes every week. 25 to 30 hours turns out to be roughly 3 to 4 hours a day. So either you go heavy on the weekends and normal on weekdays, or you keep it linear, whatever works for you. What we basically do at FinTree, every week we do a test. So har hafte test, all the 3 levels. And every test is mandatory. The schedules are published on the FinTree website. And then all that you need to do is basically, we have a ranking system here. So people who happen to pass the test, we tell them that they're in FinTree Blue. So all that you need to do is be in that FinTree Blue list every week. That means you're doing okay. And if you feel that you're not doing okay, the solution is just to increase the time. Right? So it's a weekly feedback mechanism. Har hafte aapko pata chalega. Every week you'll know if you're doing good or not. And I think August is definitely doable. Meet. I'm a CFA Level 2 candidate. I've received a job offer from SBI Securities as a relationship manager, which is 100% sales role. Should I accept it? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Unless you feel that you have aversion to sales, I think it's not a bad offer to be in. I would have taken it had I been you. So suggest some good books on finance. I'm not a huge fan of reading books, but I need to increase my knowledge. So suggest some good books. Beginner level. This is Suman Laha. Okay, Suman. I'll tell you the easiest book to start with. A very nice, fun read. There's a book called Psychology of Money. Fantastic book. I don't agree with all the thought process, especially on the passive investing. But some of the content is phenomenal. Look out for the PS chapter towards the end. That's one chapter you want to read again and again and again. It's such a beautifully written topic. After you've read Psychology of Money, maybe you read some fun books on finance, right? So you read, let's say, Flash Crash. It's a great book. It's a book that narrates what happened in 2010, where this Indian origin kid allegedly caused the entire market to crash. Sarabjit something, I guess. So that's a good book to read. So you read some story-oriented books in finance, right? Read Liar's Poker, some of these stories that narrate. And once you feel that, okay, I've read enough of these incidences, stories, and historical references, then maybe you start reading little more technical books. Hi Utkarsh, in your previous videos you shared great tips on finding VCP, AIF and asset management firms on SEBI website. Would you happen to have any advice on how to identify boutique investment bank firms? Would they be interested in someone who's cleared level 1, has a year of experience in equity dealing? What skills do they look for? I'm ready to learn financial modeling. Yeah, financial modeling will be helpful. Ability to build high quality presentations, Sagar is also required. A good starting point for you to research, right? Your question is कि ये कहाँ पे ढूंढूं? Which are the firms in the investment banking business? So I'll show you. It's same. SEBI has a list, not of investment bankers. Okay, it's my own YouTube video on the screen. My screen should be visible now. Okay, so all that you need to do is go and search for something like, I don't remember the exact word they use, but let's say SEBI merchant banking list or something on those lines. So SEBI has a list of all the registered merchant bankers because you need to get that merchant banking license from SEBI. So this is the list, right? And look at this. Each of this will have their address, maybe have phone numbers and some email ID. Now these email IDs mostly will be of compliance people. So I wonder if you apply on these email IDs, you would get jobs. But it's a good starting point. But what you can always do is, for example, let's say these guys are merchant bankers, right? Now I don't know who they are, but I'm going to look them up. So I'll copy this, go on internet, see, okay, here's their website, contact us, about us, careers. All right, so let's look at careers now. Now, do you have what it takes? Yeah, I think so. Interested in joining our team, enter full name, CV. Sure, so I'll drop my CV here, but I will not stop there. I'll probably write an email on this email ID, maybe give a call on this number, and try and write email that will catch attention. Do a little more research on who these guys are, what type of markets do they work in. So that's the process, right? It will take time, but it will be worth it if you spend enough time. So hopefully that answers your query. Okay, I think I've done. Now let me take some live questions from the YouTube chat box. So please request to keep on posting questions now and start answering them. Rajiv, I'm currently understanding account and finance department of MNC. Most are accountants. Tax. Okay, sorry, Rajiv, your question is, how do I fix this? Wait a minute. Okay. What skills should I develop while doing CFA to add value? I currently understand account and finance department. Most are accountants, tax filing, prepare budget, fund planning. Rajiv, like what you're doing now and what you intend to do is different, right? Because your profile is a little more taxation and accounting, which is typically a CA profile. I would suggest one, if you can make a switch from what you're doing now, maybe to different team within the same company. See if that's an option available. For example, look for either a treasury team or a corporate development team. That will help. And what skills should you learn? I think start with financial modeling. That's a no-brainer. Financial modeling will definitely come in very handy. Okay. Next question I will take from Prisha. Hi, I'm level 1. My exam is in Feb 25 and only done with fixed income. I'm a FRM also. Right now my day is busy from morning 9 to 8:30. How should I plan? Right, Prisha, Feb 25, which means December, Jan, you have about 3 months left to finish. And if you're working from 9 to 8:30, it looks like you not have a lot of time to study. So if I were you, I'd probably consider if I can give myself a little more time by considering a deferral, if you can, because it's going to cost money. Alternatively, if you have to write Feb, then my recommendation would be go extremely heavy on November and December. And I don't know how you do it considering your work schedule. Try to finish the syllabus so that January onwards you can get on practicing and mocks. But looking at where you are right now, I think it's going to be a little challenging. See, understand FRM is going to help you with quant. Since you're a FRM charter holder, FRM will help with quant, it will help with fixed income, it will help with derivatives and PM. But you'll have to do FRA completely afresh. You will have to do economics completely afresh. You will have to do corporate issuers, completely new subject, and this will take time. So the earlier you finish the syllabus, the more chance you give yourself to practice. Okay, so keep that at the back of your mind. Okay, next. Sorry, I think I lost a little track of these questions. Vibhuti. Vibhuti is asking, hello Utkarsh, I'm going to CA final in November 24 exam. I want to pursue CFA, please guide me. Sure, Vibhuti. I think at this moment, forget CFA. You have a monstrous exam in front of you. मेरा आज भी CA final सुन के थोड़ा सा मेरे को डर लगता है. I think if you make me write CFA exams again, maybe I'll do okay. But if you make me write CA exams again, I am 100% sure I'm going to fail. right? CA is a completely different ball game altogether. So my recommendation, just have like a tunnel vision, make sure you finish CA, then get in touch with FinTree team. They'll help you with how to proceed for CFA. I think if you, and I'm sure you will, pass your CA in November. आपका results generally Jan में आता है, at least मेरा ऐसे ही हुआ था. So maybe you can consider writing next year November for CFA Level 1. Okay, for some reason my YouTube is not streaming. Just a minute. Alright, it's doing well now. Let me take David Warner question. Sir, I'm preparing for FRM Level 1, completed my graduation last year, took a gap for CAT prep, couldn't crack the IIMs cutoff. I'm going for MSc Finance in UCT Ireland. I have no work experience. How should I plan? Plan what? So pass your FRM exams. I'm not sure how good is the quality of education in Ireland. I've heard from some people that they were struggling to find jobs. Right, so if you're going to that region, make sure you generate some opportunity for yourself to work in that area. Finish FRM parallelly and pick up some coding skills. I think Python would come in very handy, but even SQL is something you should consider. Radha Rani Sevak, K Sevak is asking, I'm preparing for November 24. I see several new topics added in quant like SPC error, sample movements, machine learning. Are these relevant for November? I think so. The machine learning topic was added. It should be testable. I'm not sure. I can't understand what you mean by those model errors. So those were always there. But yeah, I mean, whatever content you see in the Garg publishes this book, right? The core material. So refer to that. That's your syllabus. That's what you're expected to prepare. Nikita is asking how to enter market for a very first time and how can I enter the markets now? I am a CFA Level 1. Okay, you cannot be a CFA Level 1. You can either be a CFA Level 1 candidate or you pass CFA Level 1. That's something you learn in ethics when we do the syllabus. You might have already done it. But yes, how to enter the markets? Asan hai. I'll tell you how to do it. Take a small amount of money. Right, maybe initial 5,000, 10,000 type of rupees, save a little bit and then gather at least that much of money. Open a demat account. Now these days opening a demat account is fairly simple. Go choose any broker of your choice, Zerodha or whatever, right? It doesn't matter, no recommendation there. Then I think what you want to do is as a beginner, you go and look at the Nifty 50 stocks and tell yourself that out of these I'm going to select 10 for myself. So your universe is limited. But one condition, that every stock that I decide to put in money, so you have 10,000 rupees, you can do 1,000 each. Now 1,000 each mein problem ye hoga ki kuch stocks nahi aayenge. Reliance, HDFC is a little expensive, right? So maybe a little more money eventually. But that one stock that I will buy, I will make sure I'm reading at least 4 to 5 conference call document available on the website of that company. So let's say you want to read HDFC Bank, read at least last 4 quarters of conference calls and then invest and then track a little bit, but don't invest a lot of money because it's your learning curve, right? So this is for learning, not for investing. And then when you start getting a little more comfortable, and this is a process, it will happen over a period of time, and you feel, okay, out of these, I like this one more, then maybe you put in a little bit of more. But I think that's an excellent way to start because putting money is going to force you to study that company, hopefully a little bit more. Again, not a recommendation. It's your own money, you do whatever you want. But generally, if you want to get started, I think this is a good way to explore the markets. Don't put in too much of money though, because one would not expect you to be a great stock picker early in your career. How to revise FSA for CFA Level 1 November attempt. The best way to revise FSA basically is to practice a ton of questions, Anuj. So give yourself 2 days if you're writing in November. Go on CFA Learning Ecosystem. Solve all the questions on FSA on 1 or 2 days time. Then if you have access to FinTree, go and solve FinTree quizzes on FSA. If you have access to our weekly tests, go and solve all the tests we've taken on FSA. Ek din mein, in single day, you solve as many questions as you can. And then if required, wherever you get your questions wrong, you go and read those sections of CFA curriculum or whatever book you prepared from. If you have access to my crash course, Anuj, then before solving questions, I'll recommend you do the crash course first. I think 5-6 hours of crash course videos and then solving questions, and that will do the job. All right, Samir. Sir, mutual fund, Samir, एक ही मिनट. Mutual fund distribution counted as relevant work experience for CFA charter. How is the future in this sector with so many direct platform nowadays? Samir, I think mutual fund distribution is relevant. There is a document like a website available on the CFA portal that gives you a good idea of its relevant. Or in my experience, it is. What do I think about the sector? I think the sector is going to flourish. Okay, I feel we've not even scratched the surface for all the financial market ancillary businesses. Let me tell you why. So you're talking about platforms, right? And there are plenty of platforms. Now, generally what has been observed by a lot of AMCs is the money that comes through these platforms where there is no human interaction, the money doesn't stick, which basically means if tomorrow there is a negative 10%, 20% event on Nifty, a lot of this money will start disappearing because when these investors panic, there is no one to pick a phone and talk to. Whereas a lot of investors will stay on their glide path, on their discipline, if they have someone who's mentoring them. So therefore, I feel that these distributors play a very important role in enforcing discipline, right? I mean, of course, you're getting some commissions out of whatever product you're selling, but what you do is you enforce discipline and you force investors to remain invested even at the times when the markets are under crisis. So I think the distribution business will keep on increasing. If you read the Nuvama call, like go and look up Nuvama. If you read the Nuvama call, there it actually says that the number of HNIs in India, ultra HNI and HNI, are increasing at a faster rate than the amount of skill that's available in the distribution business. What does it tell you, right? It tells you that the industry is growing faster, but there's not enough manpower who's really skilled. So I feel this industry is just going to grow, and we just at the beginning. We have a good 20-30 year runway at minimum. Okay, all right. Let's take some more. Raghu, your view on capital markets team in JLL, CBRE, Cushman in Pune. How's the learning curve there for CFA candidate? Will it be the kind of brokers for real estate, but for a big firm, your view? Raghu, actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Some of the very senior people from both JLL, CBRE, in fact, even Cushman, they've participated in my classroom program. So I know them one-on-one. And I've had in-depth discussion with them on how does the capital market team work. And I'll tell you, it's a really good work. I think you will have fantastic opportunity to learn. I've had few students in the past. I remember one particular student who did work in, I think he was in CBRE, or no, he was in Cushman, in the capital market team for a few years. And then he managed to get himself a place in one of the largest private equity fund in India that does real estate investing. So I think opportunities are plenty. I think real estate is not a bad place to be in. And capital market is more than a broker, right? Capital markets, of course, you're broking deals, but you're also negotiating transactions, you're structuring transactions. I think the learning curve would be fantastic, Raghu. Okay, Rohit is asking, with heading finance, I'm learning accounting and tax, don't know how to fit CFA in my plan. However, preparing for level 1, would love to have clarity. I will search for treasury or corporate development. Sure, Rohit. Okay, Amber is saying, clear level 2. I'm also a CF finalist given my first attempt. Should I join job or complete my CA first? Of course, complete your CA first, Amber. It's a no-brainer. Abhi mere class mein bhi there is someone in my level 2 class. She's also in CA final. and she came and she was asking, should I do level 2 or CA? And I told her CA, obviously, though she didn't listen to me. But it's a no-brainer. See, I'll tell you, बहुत simple है. CFA as a program is designed for someone to take along with a full-time job. CA is not. It's impossible to take those maritime art subjects. I don't know how much are there in CA final. But it's impossible to have a full-time job and study for those 8 subjects and write CA final attempt. So get done with CA, even if it hurts you, even if you feel that frustration, wanting to work. Let go of everything, have tunnel vision, give yourself 6 months, prepare with all your intensity, make sure you get through CA in that one go, and then explore CFA and working, whatever you want to do. और CA का ये होता है, sorry, I'm again coming back to same topic. CA अगर आपने छोड़ दिया ना तो नहीं होता है वापस. I've seen so many of my friends who are studying CA with me. Many of them quit their job, quit their studies, and they started some broking business back in the day. And then they said, market अच्छा है, so maybe it's an opportunity to make money for a couple of years. None of them came back to CA. Once you leave, it's gone. So don't do it. Finish it and then look for other options. All right, Abdul Ahad. I'll take last 2 or 3 questions now. I didn't clear my level 1 in August 23. Recently graduated BCom, planning to reappear in 25. How do I kickstart my prep second time around? Abdul, number 1, forget about Quant and PM. Okay, a lot of people think that I did not pass because I scored low in Quant and PM. That's not true. You might score low in Quant and PM, and you might score really well in other subjects, and you might still pass. So the correct way to think is that on an aggregate, my score was not sufficient. Now, how to prepare next time around depends on how close you were to MPS, right? So I'll give you some general thought process around this. I'll need my screen, so that will help you take a better decision. And I think all of us will learn a little bit on how to read results, right? So your results are generally, the main page of the result is like this. You have something called as a MPS somewhere here, and then you have this 10th percentile, and you have 90th percentile lines here, right? And if your result, let's say, happens to be here, you're above the MPS, so you pass. Now, let's give them some name. Let's say scenario A, pass. Let's say you're here, you're very, very close, but obviously you did not pass, so let's call it fail, right? So fail, let's call it scenario B. Or you might be here, fail, scenario C. Or you might be here, very close to the lower percentile, let's call it scenario D. Or you might be even below that, scenario E. The idea is, if you did not pass the exam, and if you're in scenario B, right, you were close to MPS but you did not get through, I think then the strategy becomes doing a lot of questions. So conceptually you're reasonably okay, but maybe practice wise you are not. So these category of candidates, I recommend them to do a lot of mocks, solve learning ecosystem again, spend 70-80% time on the practicing questions. But all the candidates who are in this region, right, either you did not pass in scenario D or E, this is where I recommend that you forget that you've taken this attempt again, start afresh with all the 10 subjects, assuming you don't know anything, build from basics. So you will have to evaluate where you are in terms of this, and then based on that, you'll have to redesign your strategy. Okay, so I hope you found this useful. Okay, time for one last question. Okay, let's talk about Tales of Gautam. Tales of Gautam, which hard skill or certificate will help in risk management? Should I go for financial modeling course? No. Financial modeling typically is a more valuation focused, more equity research course, Gautam. It's not really a risk management program. I think risk management, just having basic understanding of Python, SQL, and passing FRM 1 or 2 parts, that should be okay. When will your batch start for CFA Level 1, August 25? When will the schedule for November 25 release? It's already released, I guess. Let me just check on the FinTree website if it's released or not. See, all the FinTree schedules, because my personal calendar is done till 2027 January. So we have all clarity on those schedules, but I'll show you where they are. So when you go on the home page of FinTree, okay, you go at the bottom of the page, you will see these live school schedules. So here you can go and download them. So now we have schedules available till August 25. Because that right now I think our onboarding of candidates is happening till August 25. Very soon November will come. In fact, I think in another week or two, November should be available. And when to start a batch, you can start on any of these dates when the new subject starts, right? So you can start on 28th of September, or you can start on, now that's gone, but you can do 19th of October, which means today, or you can join on 2nd of November, or you can come on 30th of November. So you have plenty of flexibility. Just browse through this schedule. You will get a sense of how the sessions work. Put special focus on these weekly test systems, right? So you'll get some sort of a clarity there. All right, that's it from my side. I hope you're finding these sessions useful. Let me come back on the YouTube screen. If you have any suggestions for me, because anyways I'm spending an hour now on YouTube every week on every Saturday. So if you have any suggestions for me in terms of how can I make these sessions more useful, how can I make them better, what topics we should discuss on, if you have any of those ideas or suggestions, I would love to listen from all of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your valuable time on Saturday mornings. If there are any questions that I could not answer today, please put them on the comments section of this video. And as usual, when I start the session next week, I will answer most of the questions which are there in the comments of the current video. All right, so with this, thank you very much. Keep on. Questions are posted in the questions are answered from the comments. So you just have to post the questions in the comments. That's it. Okay, so thank you very much. I will see you next week, same time. Keep on learning, keep on enjoying the subject.